SOE 64, guys, is a new first-person, old school kind of shooter. It's kind of looking to emulate the games that was from the 90s, you know, the war shooters that we were getting towards the end of the 90s. And I love them. I mean, I love them all, especially the ones in the early noughties, your Wolfensteins, your Medal of Honors, your Call of Duties. They were all great. And this is kind of like them, but in the beginning. A lot of people comparing it to GoldenEye as well, but I never played GoldenEye, so I wouldn't know. But it does look very 90s World War II shooter. It's called, like I said, SOE, which is Special Operations Executive, which was part of the British Army at the very beginnings of World War II, set up by Churchill. And these were not the SAS. The SAS was set up by Jimmy Sterling in Africa, I believe. Well, I don't believe, I know, because I ran the Hidden and Dangerous 2 website and I had all the history of the SAS and I also touched on the Special Operations Executive in that, which is why I know all about that. But you were the Special Operations Executive in this, and I played the demo and it was disappointing, very disappointing. You couldn't rebind your movement keys, which is a huge problem for me. I mean, I got round it with my macro, but it was still, you should be able to rebind all your keys, but I'm not going into that. It was just the feel. It's the feel of the game. I don't know whether you guys, surely some of you will know what I mean. When you're picking up a first-person shooter and you start playing it, you kind of get the feel of the game. You get the feel of the movement. You get the feel of the aiming. You get it's. At first, when you pick up any new game, it feels a bit off because you have to get used to the game again. And I wasn't using my FPS mouse, which, you know, does make quite a difference. I was using my MMO mouse, so that caused a few issues. But I did a comparison to another game, which I'll come to in a second, using the same mouse, and it just felt so much better. It just didn't feel right, the aiming, the way the crosshair moves, the way your player moves. It just wasn't what I would call fluid. I tell you what it's like. It's like playing a first-person shooter with a controller. You can't feel anything with a controller. It doesn't matter how badly set up the actual controls are. If you're using a controller, you don't really feel it, do you? It's just kind of, everything's... In real life, if you were making love to a beautiful woman that you loved, you would just feel, it's just an amazing experience. Everything just feels right. It's just, you can just feel everything. It's just all beautiful and fantastic. That's what you get with a mouse and a keyboard when you're playing a good shooter that's set up. You get all the feeling. Mac, this is a terrible analogy, but bear with me. I'm not saying it's as good as, but I'm just saying you get, like, it just feels right. You know, when it just feels right. Whereas when you're playing with a controller, it's you may as well be fucking blue, you know what I mean? It's just like nothing here, just what the hell? Oh god. Next. That is the worst analogy I think I've ever made, but that's just what came to me head. Yeah, and you know, when I was playing this, it never felt right. It just felt off. The control just always just didn't feel fluid like it did in the earlier games. Another thing that kind of got me with this game was the AI. As soon as you hide, the AI just seemed to charge to your last known position, and they kind of queue up to come around the corner, and you can just pop them on the head and just take them all out one after another. It's the dumb. There's no sense of taking cover really and staying back and allowing you to come to them where they can get the advantage. There's none of that. It's just, it's, you know, you hide and they just charge. It's very crap. So what I did was I loaded up Medal of Honor Allied Assault, went into the middle of the campaign of one of my saved games. I'd never played it in single player since 2022, because that's what it said on my game. So yeah, it took us a little while to get used to it all, but my goodness, it is so much better. It is 1,000 times better. The fluid movement is just brilliant. The aiming, I mean, even though I'm missing a lot, the aiming is really good. It just works so much better. And you know, these games that come out today that emulate games that's been out 30 years ago, they never get it right. They just never get the feeling right. It just never feels right. The closest was the, but this was a mod even. I was going to say the Return to Castle Wolfenstein that I did last year, but that was a mod based on the original game, using the original game. So even that was using the original. I think it was just the engines back then were just so much better for the actual control of your mouse and your keyboard. Whereas today, they're just sloppy, that'll do shit, you know, and it's a shame because you just don't seem to get that feeling with a lot of these indie kind of games. Now, you do get it with some big AAA games. This is where I'm actually going to praise AAA. Some of the AAA shooters that have come out over the last 10 years have had really good feeling when you're controlling the player with a mouse and a keyboard, as it should, because first-person games should always be played with a mouse and keyboard because it's just easier to aim. You can do better. They're built for it. Controllers have their place in gaming, you know, the great doorstops, but they shouldn't be used in first-person shooters. Unless, of course, you need one for disabilities. That's a totally different thing. But if you do use controllers because you've been brainwashed, try a mouse and a keyboard. You'll find your game is a lot better once you get used to it. But yeah, this SOE64, it was disappointing. I'll probably review it when it comes out, but it just doesn't feel right. The aiming just felt off. The control, moving the player around felt off. But the concept looks great. The maps were decent. I had no problem with the maps. And it did bring back the nostalgia. Absolutely it did. It's just a shame that it just doesn't feel right. And at first I thought, is it me? But after loading up Medal of Honor, I realised instantly that, nah, it's not me. It's the actual game. So there you go, guys. Try the demo. Links in the description. SOE64 could be your game. You could enjoy it. I just didn't.